Hi, everyone. Craig Rispin here. Glad to see you could make it. We got 56 people online right now, more joining us. We're going to get started in just about 1 minute. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about innovative meeting management. I've got lots of apps and websites and ideas and be answering your questions. Some of you sent in questions ahead of time. Thanks very much for that. Got lots of questions asked. Some of you asked, a group of you asked basically the same question. So, and it's about, online meetings and recommendations other than Skype and so on. And I can definitely help with that. So we're going to get started here. We got another 10 people that have joined us just in the last minute or so. So as people are logging in and getting set up, we'll get started here in just about 1 minute. It won't be a long session. It'll be in under an hour, 45 minutes at most, but I will be hanging around and answering all questions that you might have before I shut it down. And everything will be recorded and uploaded to the EAN website as well. So we just had another few people join us, but I think it's time that we get started, everyone, because if you missed the beginning, don't worry. Yes, we are recording and you'll be able to get to it. Now, I'm going to be showing lots of video clips today, and so I'm going to turn my video off because you've already seen me. You don't have to see me the whole time. I'm going to turn my video off so you can see full screen. You can see those videos. It'll save on bandwidth on your end and be better for the recording, but I'll turn my camera back on and unmute you when we get to question and answer time. And so, let's get started now with the innovative meeting management, and especially when it comes to business these days, we've got to think about using these apps and websites to save us time and make life easier. And talking about time, wow, we've got to manage time. And being in a global business these days, we're distributed around the globe with our teams, or interstate, but around the globe frequently as well. And dealing with time zones, it's always an issue. When's the best time to meet? So if you Google every time zone, 3 words, you'll get this wonderful web app, and you just run it in your web browser and put in the cities that you want to connect with, or where your participants in a meeting, online meeting, might be, and then you can see whether it fits into their comfortable time frame. And it's very easy to use, very quick, and it answers a question. It's the kind of thing that you should have in your arsenal if you're trying to set up meetings and you're part of an international organization, which increasingly we are. It's statistically about 80% of knowledge workers are working in globally distributed businesses now. That's not small business, of course. That's global businesses, and the big businesses employing knowledge workers where they can work anywhere, but they tend to work in cities and be distributed. But that's changing. You could ask me about that if you want to when we get done. Another great tool for planning, of course, it's an oldie but a goodie, timeanddate.com, something to have saved so you can plug in the cities and it will show you a nice chart of when's the best time to meet. But there's some new things once you get the time zones sorted out, the new ways to meet and set things up. And I always ask people, yes, I'm glad. I say, do you have people's mobile numbers? And if they work within organizations, they typically do. If it's across organizations, they may not. But if you do have people's mobile numbers, then there is a great app that I've been playing around with. and I call it the Tinder of meetings. I'm sure you don't know what Tinder is, but Tinder is sort of a dating app. This is a meeting app, but I don't Tinder, but I've heard about it. Anyway, and it has this innovation of swipe, sort of back to the old days. Are you hot or not? Well, this is whether the meeting's hot or not. Is it good in your calendar or not? So what happens is you just text your friends or contacts in your phones or your colleagues that need to be at this meeting, and they can synchronize it with their calendar instantly on their phone and swipe yes or no, left or right. Let's have a look at that. I am about to play my first video clip, so I'll just give you a little bit of warning. Sometimes the video clips come through quite loud, and so you'll want to have your hands on your headphones to pull them off if it's too loud, or near your volume control, or if you're in an environment without headphones, turn your volume down now. You have been warned. Here comes our first clip. It's for Swipe to Meet, the Tinder of meeting time apps. Have a go with Swipe to Meet. You might find it very useful. If you're in a group where you have everybody's mobile numbers, maybe you don't. It's a more professional setting, and you just typically have people's email addresses. If you're across organizations, you're collaborating, want to set up a meeting with a client outside your organization and an exec with inside your organization, then Need to Meet is a great way. It's sort of an upgrade from Doodle. If you remember, Doodle's been around for a long time. It needed a facelift and nothing's happened for a while. And so we needed someone to come along and innovate. And this is sort of a better version where people can vote for their availability. And if everybody can meet at a particular time, then it will send reminders and calendar entries once that time has been selected. Have a look at Need to Meet.
Introducing Need to Meet, the website, mobile app, and Outlook add-in that lets you easily find a time that works for everyone for any type of meeting or event. No more back and forth emailing or texting. With Need to Meet, simply select dates and times based on your own calendar events and availability. Search through your contacts for attendee names or add email addresses manually. That's it. Your invite is ready to be sent to all the attendees. Quickly check how many responses you have and see which time works best for everyone. Need to Meet works and syncs across all your devices, the web, and even Microsoft Outlook. Need to Meet, the easy way to find a time that works for everyone.
So we got everybody invited. We know what's going on, but we need an agenda, and there's an app for that, of course. And there's an iOS app, and there are Android apps as well. And I'm going to show you where you can find if I say something is in the App Store and maybe it's not in the Google Play Store, well, we can find alternatives. I've mentioned this in previous webinars. Alternative to TO, that is, alternative2.net, and you can type in Agenda Maker and it will find the alternative for you on other platforms like Android on Google Play. But this is an app for iOS that very quickly, there's a simple thing that we have to do many times when we're organizing meetings is setting times, just times for the agenda, whether it be for a meeting or a conference or anything that runs a day or more. And it's really hard in a spreadsheet if you've ever done it. And you shift things around and then they don't change their times. And this app, Agenda Maker, is so easy. You just type in how long you need to review the retail business, and you need 45 minutes for that. And we think we're going to start at 10:30. And then if you shift that around because that person can't be there at the times automatically recalculate. It's so simple. And then you can add to your calendar, so you can then share that with anybody in your organization or external. And it is a fantastic way to do an agenda. And so many times I'm meeting with teams that are running professional conferences, meetings with it in their organization, and they're battling with an Excel spreadsheet. And I say to them, don't you know there's an app for that? And their reply to me typically is, oh, of course, Craig, you would know that there's an app for everything. What's the app? And then they grab this, like, oh, it's so simple and easy. That's exactly what we're going to use from now on. So great for setting an agenda very quickly. You can download it, bang, set an agenda. Then what about in the meeting? Well, you might be responsible for taking minutes or just capturing the ideas or sending a report after the meeting. And there's an app for that too. And my favorite app is called Audio Note because it has some killer features. And this is cross-platform. It's available for Macintosh and iOS and Android and Windows. And it will let you take notes with recorded audio. So if you've ever had one of those live scribe pens with the built-in microphone that you would write on a special pad of paper, and it would synchronize what people are saying in the room as you're taking notes, this is very similar to that, but you don't need a special pen or paper. It's just an app that you run, and as you're typing notes, or if you have a touch screen, you can draw as well. You can take pictures if you have a device with a camera in it, like iOS or Android, Windows Phone, and you can then attach that to the document as well. Then it's synchronized, and so you can go back and play that meeting with the notes that you were taking. And as you're taking notes, you can say, now, what did Craig say about that app? What was that again? And you just you type down into the app audio note, and then you'll hear my voice coming back, perfectly synchronized when I said with that. That's the secret of this app, is the synchronization. So you'll find that in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Audio Note, one word. It's $7.99 and worth every penny. And we have a brief review from somebody who works for Easter Seals. They help people in North America with people with disabilities and help them in the classroom and at home and outside in the community. And they're using it to help their students learn better at school. They have a brief review of Audio Note. Have a look at this.
It's nice to be with you today. Today we're going to take a look at an iPad app. It's also available in Android, called Audio Note. An Audio Note is an interesting note-taking device that you can use on your mobile devices. So let's take a look at the iPad. I've got an iPad mini here, and this is the application. It's called Audio Note. What makes Audio Note interesting and useful is it is on a mobile device, so you can kind of take it with you from here and there. But what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and just tap my finger in here. You have the ability to type notes. You also have the ability to write notes with a stylus if you want. You can come over here and actually use a highlighter as well. So if I had typed information, I could highlight that information. But the other thing that's useful with it is you can also take pictures. So if I click on the camera button at the very top, click my finger in the middle, it's going to bring up a little menu, and I can say take a picture. And what's better when you're taking notes than to be able to look up at the board that the teacher is using to be able to take a picture of what they're doing, so it's not reliant on what you write down, but you actually get what the teacher wrote down, and then you can actually take a picture. Click my button there. I'll say down in the bottom right hand corner it says use, and I can click use, and it throws it into my note-taking app. The other thing that makes this application very unique is it has a record button. So if I click on the record button, you're going to see the bar at the top of the app turn red. That indicates that it's recording audio as well as all the notes. And it will actually sync whatever it hears with whatever is being written at that moment. So if I move my finger up here and I click on the T, it's going to bring up my keyboard again. And I'm going to go ahead and start typing, and I can type in this is a test. And then when I'm done, I can hit the pause button, and I can then go to the playback, and playback is up here at the very top. And then if I just take my finger and I click on this and actually have my volume on, let me make sure that's on. Turn up my volume for us. There we go. And then let's try that again. And I'll hit play. I can type in this is a test. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but as it reads a word, it's actually highlighting it in blue to tell me that that is the word that was written at that specific moment that the audio was recorded. And that is AudioNote. Great app. You do have ways to organize information, but really very useful note-taking app for persons who have difficulty focusing on what the teacher's saying while they actually write their notes. It really helps in those situations.
Well, that's a fantastic note-taking app. I know when I go for briefing meetings with the clients, they want me to speak at a conference. That might be 9 months, 12 months in advance. And they want to give me details about what they would like me to cover about their organization. And I just turn on AudioNote. I ask their permission, and they allow me to record it. And I take a few notes, and those notes are synchronized. It means I can take fewer notes, actually, because I know I've got a reliable recording. Now, the reason I've got this chart up is that the next thing I'm going to recommend actually requires that you have Google Apps. And I wondered how many of the organizations out there are using Google Apps versus Microsoft Office. And I'll be recommending tools for both. But boy, Google is way ahead when it comes to cloud-based productivity apps. And it's really taken the lead, and increasingly more and more organizations are using Google Apps. And so there are apps in the App Store for Google Apps. I know that sounds a bit redundant, but there are. And meetaction.com is a tool that will take a Google Doc, which you could upload from Word and convert it to a Google Doc quite easily. And it will extract an outline and turn it into an agenda, and turn it into agenda items and tasks to be done, and who needs to do what by what time. So, and the whole idea is that you can keep your hands on your keyboard, could be taking notes, assign it to people, assign due dates, and you can do this all very quickly just using function keys. So uninterrupted workflow, don't have to take your hands off the keyboard is the idea. And you can type away, capturing all the information, to-dos, turn those into tasks, and then email them out to your team. And then it will automatically, based on the dates and the activities and who was mentioned in the meeting, it will do the meeting follow-up. It'll create the document. It will export all the to-do items, who needs to do it by when, and send the to-do items to the right people and make sure to follow it up. And it all just from a plain old document to start with, Google Doc, and turns it into a very powerful meeting management tool. And free for a basic account, costs very little for a premium account. Less Meetings is a similar full service. I'd call it a full service meeting management tool, in that if you're holding lots and lots of meetings and you want to see what the outcomes of those are. I know one of my clients in the city has 50 different meeting rooms, and they're constantly being used. And I think, wow, I wonder if they're actually getting any work done in those meeting rooms or not. And this would give them the analytics. Less Meeting is all about optimizing the outcomes from your meetings, and not just agendas, not just accountability follow up and so on, but a whole methodology for running better meetings. And just like other web services, there's a basic free account you can try for a while, and then it's based on the number of employees. When I say full service, this is a full blown system for managing meetings. And it's not for everyone, but if you want to get better and more productive at the meetings that tend to take a lot of time up and maybe not deliver a lot of value, this will help you do it through a methodology and an application. Have a look at Less Meetings. Less Meeting, I should say. Not Less Meetings, it's lessmeeting.com.
Do your days get filled up with meetings to the point where you can't get any work done? Do you know that in the US alone there are over 3 billion meetings a year? Doing some quick math, it is over $1 trillion we're spending in meetings. Meetings wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the meeting billions out there. I think you know who I'm talking about. Most people feel the same way as you do about meetings. There has to be a better way to run meetings. Introducing Less Meeting. Less Meeting is a meeting productivity tool that helps you improve meeting planning, meeting execution, and meeting follow-up. To help you plan better meetings, Less Meeting gives you an integrated Outlook plugin to build well-formed agendas that leverage meeting planning best practice. For non-Outlook users, you can do the same through an intuitive web interface. For running meetings, Less Meeting provides an online collaborative note-taking interface. You and your team can track notes, action items, and decisions for all of your meetings. At the end of every meeting, Less Meeting emails participants the meeting notes and meeting effectiveness score. For follow-up, imagine you had instantaneous access to all action items that came out of your meetings, including those owed to you. See what your teams are meeting about and what action items and decisions are coming out of those meetings. Are you ready to reclaim your day for meetings? Plan better meetings, run better meetings, and improve your meeting follow-up. Less Meeting, more productivity. Sign up for free in under 3 minutes at lessmeeting.com/register.
Have a go if meetings are a big part of what you do. It integrates with Microsoft Office or Office 365, as you see, or you can run it as a web service, so you don't have to have that, but it's great. It's built straight into Outlook for running your meetings. When you set up a meeting, up pops the template, make an agenda, automated follow-up. It's a great tool, not cheap. Have a look at it, but I have clients that are running it, and they swear by it because they realized that they needed to focus on making their meetings more productive. An equivalent tool, not on Windows, but as an app, is just called Meetings. It's an iOS app. You can find it in the App Store. You can do all this on an iPad. So record and playback and retrieve text, tasks, and follow-up, what people said in the meetings, sharing it with teams, next actions, taking pictures of whiteboards or documents, and sharing notebooks for various teams. Now, there's a specialized version of these meeting apps that are designed specifically for board management, and that is for your management board, maybe a not-for-profit board. Even startups have board members, don't they? So big and small organizations have regular board meetings, and you need a specialized app for that because it needs to be tracked what documents board members have reviewed, their standardized reporting back as a listed company, and so on. And it has to be private and secure. And so there's a whole category of apps. There's actually dozens of them now, but two that are the most popular are BoardPad, and there's another one coming up that's actually from an Aussie company that was one of the first to propose this. And this secure technology has been used by boards all around the world. And I know as I go and present to boards, I see many of them now are doing it on their iPad. They've got their secure PDFs, they're reviewing their documents, they've checked off that they've gone through their reading list for compliance, and they love it. They really love it. The one that's Aussie made that had first mover advantage is Board Track. So the two big ones, and Board Track is the other one. Board Track, TRAC, and it's a free to download the app, and then you subscribe to an online service for your board members. And you, if you're running the meeting, you would log in as a board administrator and set up all the directors, and then send them a link that they can log in securely. Also, there's another way you can use an app or a iPad or a tablet to secure meeting rooms. So you may have seen this. Some organizations have outside their meeting rooms. I know a lot of Hiltons have this now. They have an iPad or another tablet where it's keeping track of whether a meeting room is available or not. I don't know if this it comes under your responsibility, but sometimes I hear that it does, and or maybe you can make a recommendation for handling it better. And so here's a simple app. You can mount an iPad outside a meeting room. It will tell you it's occupied and for how much longer, whether it's vacant. And this all just synchronizes very simply with a calendar. It just becomes a client, and it knows when meetings are coming up, when it's ending. It will subscribe to Microsoft Exchange or Google's Cloud. It just becomes a client. It's very easy to set up, and just $20. Just $20 for that app. A great way to synchronize your meeting rooms. And it's just called Meeting Room. Meeting Room. Have a look at that. Okay, so there are some innovations for better managing meetings. I hope you've found one or two that you'd like to have a go, and please share with me. Let me know. I've been getting emails from quite a few of you giving me feedback on the webinars. But now it's time to go into the questions that some of you sent in advance. I said I'd stick around to answer all the questions, and let's get started, because the first group of questions are all basically the same category. So we had, what's the best choice for video conferencing, i.e. Skype or something else? And what alternatives are there to Skype? As our business has numerous issues with this technology. And I have to say, you're not the only one. I've been hearing a lot of feedback from my clients that they've moved away from Skype. And I know in my business, we've pretty much given up on it as well. It's okay to have a few glitches when I'm talking to family members, but it's not when I'm doing mission critical business stuff. Also, related to this, what online meeting software would I recommend? Well, in my role as a futurist, going to speak to all sorts of organizations, this doesn't mean all the time that I'm going to the airport and flying there. I have to present myself remotely, and I get to use all of the systems that are out there because each of my clients have a different system. They're using WebEx or GoToMeeting, or they're using Skype, but sometimes they allow me to bring my own, and then I would use the tool that we're using today. Same question, related. Easiest way to hold a seminar with PowerPoint presentation and a speaker to all states. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I don't have my video turned on. I could easily switch my video on, and we had video over the top of the slides. And then I've got a high definition video of me with my PowerPoint, and it's all happening within this webinar, which is the service is zoom.us, zoom.us. Another question, are there any free platforms that can be used for running committee board meetings online, either by telecom or video conference? Well, same answer, but you would also need an app to manage their board readings and votings and minuting as required for compliance. So one extra bit of software on top of video conferencing. Board members could be anywhere in the world. That you would see them on a screen. You can get, 6, 9, a dozen, up to 50 or 100 video feeds onto one screen these days using Zoom. And there's a great website that shows you what people are saying about various services. And I thought I'd just do a quick comparison. This is the sort of the net promoter score of software rating, or NPS. And so what's the ratings for GoToMeeting? It's 7.6 versus Zoom is 8.9. And another competitor joined me, a new one out there, 8.2. How likely are you to recommend it to a friend? So Zoom I use whenever I get the choice. It's been very successful for me, and it's not just me. I've got literally tens of thousands of speaking friends. They've used all the other systems as well, and almost universally now they're using Zoom. Have a little look at the Zoom promo video.
Zoom is revolutionizing the way teams collaborate. Whether you're connecting multiple conference rooms or adding remote attendees, meeting face-to-face is as simple as a single touch. With the highest video and audio quality, joining a conference remotely is as natural as being there. Feature-rich and yet easy to use, the Zoom mobile and desktop apps bring the whole experience together with built-in group chat. Transform your video conferencing experience with Zoom.
It's good, very, very good. So, related to boards, how would you introduce technology to a board committee who are used to the old-fashioned way? Well, very carefully, I'd say. If they're not used to using an iPad or other tablet device, you've got to get them used to that first of all. But many are these days. You would be surprised the numbers of people that have these devices, and they're using them in their home. They're using them to play games with their grandchildren. They're very, very common. And so my recommendation for introducing this to them is have a special training session. So invite them before a board meeting to turn up 45 minutes early, facilitate a session where all the iPads are out. There are people there to help them, show them how to log in to the app, how to create a secure PIN, show them that the meeting times are there, upcoming discussions, readings that they need to do, minutes from previous meetings, financial disclosures, and so on are all in one place. And if you just do a little hand holding with a one-off session, I've facilitated this for a couple board meetings that I have spoken at, and it goes relatively smooth. But I wouldn't suggest just telling them download the app and it'll let you log in. I really think you need to have a special half an hour, 45-minute training session for the first time that you're going to run a meeting. And also, at the first time you run a meeting, you're going to have paper copies of everything as well as the iPad. You can't do away with paper totally to begin with. And so you're going to be running a dual system for a couple board meetings anyway, where they have paper, the old fashioned way, and the iPad. And eventually, the paper over a few months will increasingly disappear. Okay, next question. Apps for managing messages during a conference. Well, I wasn't quite sure whether you were talking about Twitter messages or other messages, but I thought I'd come up with a couple recommendations, and maybe you can type into the chat box exactly what you were looking for. Hopefully, my answer will be up your alley. If you are running Twitter, then my favorite app for managing conversations at a conference with Twitter is TweetDeck. TweetDeck is my favorite app for managing that. Some of my clients use Hootsuite for managing Twitter messages and LinkedIn messages. It can do as well, and Facebook messages. But that's what a lot of my professional conference organizers use. But increasingly, when I go to events where there are younger people and at international conferences, they're all talking about WhatsApp. And the reason for that is WhatsApp is the number one messaging platform in the world. Did you know that? It is actually more popular than Facebook Messenger. My Facebook Messenger is number 2. And it started out as a internet protocol texting tool, so you didn't have to pay for exorbitant SMS charges that they had in some countries where you're paying 29 cents. I know we used to pay in Australia. You could use your data and send text messages, but now, of course, it's not just text. It's emojis and videos and images. It's a lot more than just text. But there's over 1 billion monthly active users of WhatsApp. And I know wherever I travel in the world, I hop into an Uber or sometimes a taxi if I have to, and I know that they're communicating with one another using WhatsApp. And why are they using WhatsApp? Well, because they can create a group chat. And you could do this for an event. You could create a group chat, and everybody that's at the event could join that chat. Or you could have a group chat just for the people that are organizing the conference. So only people on the conference team could see the message, or you could have it for a larger group. But there is a limit. You should know, depending on the size of your audience, there is a limit to group chat of up to 256 people at once in a group. But given that the average audience size in Australia at a conference is 300 people, that would probably be doable. If you were more talking about people discussing polls and making decisions or voting on things, I use Poll Everywhere, Poll, everywhere.com, that allows my audiences to interact with me and vote on things. Been using it for years. It works great. They can either text, so if they can use plain old text to vote, they can use their smartphone app in just a web link, or they can use Twitter to vote. So you can have Twitter, text, or just a web browser to vote. And that is fantastic. Many, many, many of my clients are using this at their conferences now to make all sorts of decisions going forward. very specific question here. I think somebody that's working in the community planning space, maybe a council or organization involved with infrastructure projects. Are there any good tier 2 or 3 software providers for integrated planning? Well, this is a very specific area. And so I went out looking for recommendations for not the top tier SAP, Cognos, that sort of top tier software vendors. And I found a great article that lays out the framework and sort of an overview of the industry and mentions quite a few software vendors in each of the categories of integrated business planning. And so the article is at Target, Tech Target. And if you just Google why integrated business planning is relevant and how to automate it, it gives an overview of the various areas and then talks about the vendors that work in this space and how each of them are stepping up to have templates for integrated planning, management, ERP, and so on. They list many vendors here, many vendors, tier 1 and tier 2 in this article. And the last question we have was some fantastic feedback. Craig, loving your webinars for EAN. Well, I love doing them. I'm glad to hear that you found them so helpful. I've happened to run into quite a few of you as I've been out there at events, people coming up to me saying, "Oh, Craig, I'm part of the EAM and just wanted to say hi in person. I'd love to have a coffee." And we do. It's great to meet you out there. And people ask me funny questions like, which industries do I work in? And I think it's a funny question because I have to say all of them. I work in about 50 different industries per year. So, many people work in one industry. My role as a futurist is to work in lots of industries and spread the best ideas and trends of the future between them. So, right now I've been working with Australian pork, get some pork on your fork. You'll see a campaign going out, TV campaign going out right now, working with, upcoming with radiologists. So I do a lot in healthcare, banking professionals, professional services, e-health, cross-industry CEO groups, you name it. If there's an industry, even I haven't even heard of, many times I have to Google, oh, what's an agronomist? Do you know what an agronomist is? I didn't even know. I had to look it up. I get to work in all these really interesting industries and find out what's happening and what's top of mind with them, share some ideas from other industries that they might steal in theirs, and just spread knowledge. And this is what I love doing. So I'd love to be invited to work with your organization. If you just find me on LinkedIn, Craig Rispin, and connect with me, then you can see my slide packs from the various industries that I've been working with lately, Sydney Airport and financial planners, real estate, that sort of thing. I share all my slide packs and my travels on LinkedIn, or go to my website and download my brochure. I'd love to help you if I could in any way. Thank you so much for that feedback. So I'm going to stop the slideshow now and hopefully open up the questions. Hopefully the chat box will come through. Let's see if we've got. No, I'm going to have to ask Kimberly if she's online to read me any questions that's come in. Just type in the chat box. You can chat it directly to me, or you can chat it so everybody can see it. Have a go and see if it'll come through for me now. And I'm just going to hang around until bear with us. I think we might be having some technical issues just on the chat. Someone logged in on another account, and I think they might be getting my questions. If you could bear with me just 5 to 10 seconds, we'll see what's going on here. Well, I don't have any chats here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We got one from Angela. Good, they are coming through. As an EA, I manage my CEO's Outlook email. Yeah, he's delegated that to you. Is there any way to add messages to his emails so he knows what actions I have taken? Also, as an EA group or individual, is there any way to provide input to Microsoft developers to get better management of tools for us? Well, that's a good question. There are feedback forms on Microsoft.com, Office.Microsoft.com of suggested features, and there are hundreds of thousands of people suggesting certain features. But there are ways to tag emails within Outlook, to add tags to them, so you can say that you've handled something, or what actions that you've taken, Angela, and let me find that for you, and I will email it to you. I have your details, Angela, in the registration. And not off the top of my head, what the name of I don't have off the top of my head the name of the app, but I can see it, and I know clients that have used it. I will find it and I will email it to you. Essentially, what you can do is you can set up categories of, this is about a meeting, and this is the action that I've taken. It's been followed through. It needs you to follow up, that sort of thing. So, oh, yes, it's like Sarah says, she uses categories, colors, to indicate an Outlook. So the app that I'm thinking of that works with Outlook, it takes category colors to the next level and ties text to it as well. And Natalie said, can you please email through the details that you're currently talking about? Sure, I'd be happy to. Which details? Is that the slides that you're looking for, or the recording that we're doing right now? Or do you also want, Natalie, the more detailed categorization of being able to tag and add more details to an Outlook email? If that's what you're wanting, just say yes, and I'll make sure that I get that to you. I'll wait just a couple minutes to see if anybody else. I won't leave until everybody's had their chance to get their question answered. Don't want anybody else to, miss out. Oh, yes, Natalie, I will send that to you as well. I've got your registration details. I'll find that tagging tool that a lot of my clients are using. And yeah, add that to the chat, so that'll be saved with a recording as well. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to call it a session there. It's been great helping you with some innovative meeting technology and answering your questions. I hope to see you online next time, and you can find all the upcoming sessions at eannetwork.com/webinar, executiveassistant.com/webinar series. It's executiveassistant.com webinar series. That'll be uploaded in just a few days. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. See you online soon. Bye.